All right, we are recording, and I'm in San Diego. Welcome to Global Business News TV. Ken Lloyd, Dr. Ken Lloyd is with us, and Emily Bron is with us. Emily is originally from what, Moldova, right?
Yeah, I was born in Moldova. I lived in Ukraine, short time for Russia, but it was one country in my time, Soviet Union, which does not exist anymore. I lived in Israel. I'm living for the last 27 years in Canada, and it's not my last country I'm living in.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time in Mexico.
Yes, yes, I am a temporary resident of Mexico. I traveled a lot and I found a lot of interesting places and passions. But actually, the main reason I was traveling in Mexico is because Mexico is the biggest country where American and Canadian expats are living. And I'm very interested in this dynamic, I would say, and many projects are built catering this particular expat communities. And Mexico, it's a huge country, but I'm also interested in working with different countries. But my direction is expat communities, people who are relocating to certain countries in Latin America and Europe,
So
south
the
of Europe.
people that you are dealing with are, uh, well, say, people in our age bracket, and
50 plus, 50
yeah.
plus, it's my kind of sweet spot, or I can tell that I identify more with this age category. I'm relocated myself several times in being in a different age and stage in 20s and 30s. And I understand what kind of priorities and pain points people have in different, age group. But since I'm now belong to the 50 plus group, I would like to help these people, professional 50 plus American and Canadian, to find the best place to live, work, and retire, and actually have a good, prosperous life, active life, living abroad.
Isn't that interesting? Ken Lloyd, you were brought up in Northern California, right?
Correct.
And how long have you been in LA?
Since the late 1960s, when I started grad school down here, and then work and like the librarian that I married. I went to the library when I was studying for my Ph.D., and the best thing I checked out was the librarian. So we've been married for 50 years.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah, but
great.
found the work opportunities in the areas I'm interested in really meshed perfectly at the time for me in Southern Cal. And I do
Yeah.
like the weather a lot.
Yeah, I know. That's great. Yeah. So
It's very
yesterday,
interesting. In
yes.
school, I was dreaming to be librarian. uh,
Oh, wow.
And I've never worked. I mean, I very like libraries and books, but you just get me back. How I didn't become librarian. I know why I didn't, but it was my dream. But life turned,
Yeah.
many different directions, and here I'm with you. Yeah.
No, isn't that great? So Ken is an well-known author and
Mhm.
a columnist, a newspaper columnist, and he's just published a new book, and it's called um,
Oh, I don't see damn professional. I don't see the title. Can you read, please?
it on my screen share if you'd like. It's called Performance Appraisals and Phrases for Dummies. And this is edition number 2. And okay, it's a little hard to read from this angle, but Ken, you're welcome to upload the image if you want.
But that's
Well,
appraisal of what? Of properties? Sorry, I'm not clear.
Ken?
it's a book on employee performance appraisal. Uh, Basically, working with employees on their performance in the past and helping them set a new course of correction, training, development, career planning going forward. So it's a performance evaluation. Some people call them performance reviews. I had done a book for the dummies people about 15 years ago, and then they had requested, and I certainly agreed to doing an updated new edition because the field has really changed. So that's where we are with this. And when you picked up the book, something happened to your sound. I'm not sure if it's back now.
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
just
Yeah.
wondering
So
how employees like your book. Like, do you get a feedback from employees about the book?
yeah, certainly on the first edition. This one literally came out on Tuesday, so not too much feedback yet, other than from the reviewers that thought it was yeah, definitely worth reading. But yeah, it's a helpful, hands-on, readable book that really talks about the process and how to really implement it, what steps and strategies you can take to work effectively and productively, ethically and fairly with your employees to provide them with what used to just be called feedback. Now it's also called feed forward, which is helping them grow and develop and improve their performance, meet their motivations, and help them get to the goals that they'd like to reach at work and, frankly, in their careers all the way down the road.
yeah, if Ken, if you would like to upload the book cover, my screen share is available to you if you'd like to do that.
Let, let's see what we can find out here. Hold on one sec. Like it here. Let me do this. Just this will show you the cover of the book, just to give you an idea. Can you see that now?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yes.
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
There's the cover, and we'll go back because that's where we're going. Hold on. Well, you touch anything, it moves. But yeah, it's as a new dummies book. They've changed the covers a bit. They still go with their classical yellow and black, but the newer ones have some red to grab your attention that much more. And this is a book now it's available on Amazon. It's www.dummies.com as well. And yeah, early feedback. There's just a couple of reviews at this point, but they're both fives. And so I'm hoping, Emily, to answer your question, that those kinds of comments and responses will resonate and be widespread as people read the book and apply it to their jobs.
You can scroll down a little bit so we could see those two explanatory slides if you'd like. There we go.
Sure. Yeah,
Major
just
improvements in performance appraisals. So this is basically in a big company environment, right? Or it could be anywhere, I
not
suppose.
necessarily. No, small companies as well. It's always good to give employees feedback. And now with the newer approach through what's called continuous feedback, it's really where managers are making sure that they meet on a regular basis with their employees, certainly to talk about how their projects are going, but also to provide them with any guidance, training, answering their questions, helping them upskill, build their strengths and continue so that we don't have this huge gap between feedback and information training for employees and the actual evaluation. Emily, in the past, a lot of companies would essentially do these evaluations once a year, end of the year. So at
I
the end of the
knew.
year, even if I performed poorly 3 months ago, I'm not even getting full and complete feedback until months later, at which point it's rather meaningless. We know that the closer feedback is tied in with performance, the more effective it is in helping people frankly learn as well as develop and grow. So continuous feedback does that, along with other factors that then go with it in terms of two-way communication, building collaboration, building engagement with the employees by putting in a performance evaluation system, performance appraisal system that's more open and engaging and continuous. So that's really the focus of the book. It's taking these new steps. There are still formal evaluations, not once a year, perhaps twice or even quarterly, to keep those communication lines going and moving and wide open.
And I'm sorry, like, did you have your own employee experience or employer based on what side or experience you created this book?
Sure, sure. This comes from my academic background is with a bachelor's, master's, and PhD from UCLA, bachelor's degree from Berkeley, PhD in organizational and industrial relations at UCLA. I was with a consulting firm for many years, joined the largest manufacturer of medical apparel, and was their VP of employee planning and development. Over the years, I also taught in the MBA program at UCLA, so I did a lot of research. This is my 10th book, all of which deal with people at work, various situations in dealing with different kinds of people-related matters in the workplace. So certainly, married to a librarian, gotta be a researcher as well. And so a lot of research goes behind what I write, although I try to write more in a readable, less academic tone, so it could be a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more usable than just pure studies that are really more for the academic community. Yeah, worked, consulted across the US and Canada, mainly in this area of organizational behavior, organizational development, and building in these areas. Certainly done a lot of training and coaching in this area as well. So was it something I just kind of picked out, oh, maybe I should write on this? It's something I've been very involved in throughout the bulk of my career.
So over the years, you also had a very popular newspaper column, an advice column.
Yeah, for 20 years it ran in newspapers across the US and even in some in Canada. It was focused on any workplace questions that people have. And so I would get questions, whether it's with coworkers or their policies, or I'm thinking about changing jobs, what should be on my mind. You would name it, and the questions would come in. And did that for 20 years. For 10 of those years, it was syndicated by the New York Times Syndicate. And it was a real fun thing to do. I don't do as much of that writing now. Newspaper columns are very different in this era of social media and all. It's just went quite a different route. So I'm doing less in that area, not in any newspapers at this point.
Interesting. So, Emily, tell us about your podcast and about helping people step up and relocate to become an expat.
Yeah, no, I just thank you, Ken, for sharing information about your book. Telling the truth, like over my 27 or 8 years living in Canada, I was just my first work was as an employee. I am contractor, so I was working for more than 20 probably organizations, mostly government like ministries, banks, insurance companies, municipality of Toronto in Canada, and I never wanted to be part of big organization or corporation. No, I wanted at the beginning, but after spending some time and seeing how it works from inside, I was trying even a couple of times, but I understand it's not for me. And it's not that I'm not team player, and because the company environment was far away from what I wish for myself to stay for years, and it's not only me. But it's okay. I understand that new times are coming, and good that there's a new books and only later in life I found my entrepreneurial spirit. I understood that as a person who is growing, I cannot survive in company environment, survive even. And not only me. And over the last years, kind of I'm dealing with people who get out of the companies, people who want to get, to find their own way. And it's really hard work, to start your business, to do something, to move to another country, especially after 50. And now I'm going to the topic of my podcast. So this year I launched podcast Age of Reinvention, redefined your freedom, lifestyle, and purpose at midlife. Because when you're still young, it's kind of expected that you can change your direction, profession, to learn new skills. After 50, it's became more and more challenging.
Indeed.
Uh, and yes, and even reflecting my own life, which not very standard. I mean, because I had several immigrations, I moved from country to country, and I needed to start from zero in each country. Actually, zero meaning even new profession on the new language. I believe that I have a lot of observation and understanding how hard it is, but what skills people need in order to do the change. Because we live in a time when all is changing in work environments, as you notice, and there is ageism. Let's confirm it as well. And after 50, some people who are fired, they cannot find the work, and it's very hard to change actually your mindset and to find what is the next for me to do, what is my purpose now,
Right.
and
It's an emotional hit, and recovery is very hard for some people.
yes, and I decided somehow what is my in my ability understanding support people who are on the brink of changes or considering the change. And the change, I mean, after 50, it's relocation just one aspect, which actually is a big shock. Let's be open for the personal life when you relocating and starting new chapter in new country, but it can and should be mitigated. That's why we're preparing in this time. We can connect, we can support each other, but also for people who decided to launch new business, to start a project, maybe from the passion they've had in childhood, because it's a time, as they say, 55, kind of when majority of people achieved some successes or milestone. The children are raised or they are in college. It's an empty nest kind of for some of us phase, but we feel that we overgrew whatever we did before, and probably we need to try something new. Or telling the truth, in the time of AI tools involvement, many people are and will be unemployed. And after 50, we still have, in our times and days, at least 20, 30, maybe more years of active and should be happy life if we will find new purpose. It's, sorry, my preamble. And I decided how I can support people who are looking now what to do. So I started to connect with people who make such a changes. I'm not even speaking about me. I launched my first kind of entrepreneurial venture being 55. It's not what I'm speaking about. My first company was Travel Passion. It was my side business. Even I was IT consultant in Canada. It's who I became in Canada. I never liked this work, but I did it for money, and I never wanted to be part of this performance review tradition and all these words, because I've seen how it works in reality, at least in Canada. So yes, it was my passion, and I found that I'm actually more entrepreneur. It's what I discovered in by my character, probably, other than being employee. Or maybe after 50, we all kind of mature enough to do something what we like, maybe. So I'm looking for the people who already reinvented their life after 50. They became inventors, they launched companies, or maybe they've had one business and now they're doing, something else, like the next venture. People who relocated, because to relocate again, it's really you need to develop new set of skills and adjustments. And I'm sharing these stories for others because I believe that experience of these people is very valuable. And it's not only experience, it's ideas, how people get it, what they're doing. Even people who retired. Like I have a bunch of stories about people who retired, say at 65, and how actively and interestingly, I would say, they are living now. They create clubs, they create courses for others, they educate, they so the multiple stories. And I would like to support others by showing, look, oh, if these people can do it, like you
It's
can do it as well.
possible. It's
It's
possible.
not only
Yeah.
possible, look around. There are a lot of people
Well,
who
I've done
branch
that.
of such.
Yeah. Yeah. I started this in 2020 when COVID crashed my live conference event business, and no more. And so I started the Zoom. Ken, you've been in a straight line for years, but you've entered into different segments of
Mm.
b- being a professor and a teacher and a consultant and a business writer.
Yeah, I think the key point is, and one takeaway for me, of course, is that to try to understand individuals' motivations, and in our jobs, in our work, in our careers, we would like to be doing stuff each day that meets our needs. It's things, behaviors, actions that are truly satisfying and personally rewarding to us. For some people, this can change as they engage in various experiences during their careers, and perhaps at 50 it's time to do something really different and to go back to some of the thoughts I had earlier that I really would like to do X. uh, Others, it's a matter of, gee, within this organization, can I continue to meet, learn, grow, and get to the goals that are personally important to me? Sometimes it's in a small organization, sometimes it's in a large. There are organizations in which people with entrepreneurial objectives and motivations and spirit can actually fulfill them. Some organizations are structured to do that. In other cases, as we go through life, I think the message is, let's see where we are. We want to continue our learning and our growth. And if it means to make a change, it sounds like it would be great to have someone like Emily on your side to say, oh,
Mm.
look, here's a way to widen your thinking on opportunities that you can pursue and where you might want to pursue them, whether it's still right where you are or whether it's in Mexico City or Paris or Toronto. Uh, let's talk about it. And this is a time where excuse me, people are living longer, and our careers don't end at 65. And we had heard yesterday about a firm that lets everyone go. You turn 65, you're out of here. That's a great loss of institutional knowledge and experience and skills. And what happens to these people, the worst step, in my opinion, and research does support this, is to just simply retire. Okay. That's a great way to turn your health around and start feeling kind of sickly and depressed and upset and out of touch and out of date. Uh, so retirement, it's just what Emily is saying, finding these other things to do, whether it's a club or doing teaching, or why accept retirement at 65? At that age, people are still, many are still quite vital, have great amounts of energy and mental contributions that they can make in all sorts of fields. So to not step back and say, all right, I'm done. What can I do now? What else can I learn, grow, develop? What can I provide to others now that I'm at this point? So 65 is still young and vital, and it's a mistake for organizations and frankly for people to think differently, to just step
Excuse
back. What are my motivations? What are my needs? What am I really seeking in life? And how do I pursue them? And as I said just a few minutes ago, a person like Emily can really help you in that regard. So that's kind of my big take on this.
We did a
Yeah.
series of talk shows, Emily and I, a couple of years ago, and you went, you spent time living in different places in Mexico, And I remember one time, well, maybe more than one, you got into a community in a mountain area, and it was international, and it was healthcare oriented, and you had introduced me to a doctor, I think, and you talked about on the program about the excellent medical care available for expats in Mexico in that particular area, but I don't remember the name right now.
So actually, medical tourism, I can define it this way.
Yes,
And in
yes.
this case, it's not medical tourism because tourism is for people who coming in just for this like certain procedure. But I believe, like I know that medical system of Mexico, I'm speaking about private one, in my personal opinion and experience, better than the same in United States and Canada. In Canada, like I don't want to speak about even. I mean, there is a lot of professionals, and they are really advancing in many directions. The question, you need to find the good professional. But my biggest interest, actually, again, expat communities and where people are living, and people are living in different cities and different states of Mexico, and communities are different. Probably you're referring to city of Querétaro, which I so liked and selected for myself, and I was interested, and I'm still interested, by the way, in a project which are developing now in Mexico, uh, targeting English-speaking expats or people actually relocating from United States for assisted living purposes or for active retirement communities. It's what they trying to serve this kind of demographics. And I understand that majority of people who arrive to Mexico from, by the way, from Europe. There are many people who arrived from Europe as well. Mexico is still cheaper, I mean, cost of living, and even with all kind of problems, it's a good place to live. But we are all aging, and I was thinking, what would be with millions of people, and most of them, like including me, or single or couples without children, when they will kind of grow older. So we need some places, we need some facilities, living places. It is still one of my interests in Mexico, development of such communities, like active living communities and assisted living communities in Mexico. And it's not only Mexico, like Panama, Colombia, Costa Rica. They have a lot of expats now coming to live in, and I don't know if they developing such facilities like in Mexico, because I thought it might be the hub, for people later on in life. I'm always looking forward, maybe too far away. Um, but yes, my current year project, I launched this Age of Reinvention podcast, and actually I divided it last month to the two different topics. I have Age of Reinvention, redefined your freedom, lifestyle, and purpose in midlife, and the separate topic, Age of Reinvention, Eco Living, and Intentional Communities. Because here, regardless of age of my guests, I'm looking for developers, leaders, or maybe members of eco living and intentional communities. And I know that many of such communities developing in Mexico, but not only in Mexico, in different countries. And it's part of my personal and business interest as well, because I would like to be able to learn more about such a project and navigate people to be part of this project, because they're building communities for like-minded people. People have different minds and different likes, but it's important to find your community, because I'm sure, I believe that every success in your active life after 50, actually rely on community. And if you relocate it, it's very valuable to have supporting community of like-minded people, and not only online, which is great, but to form physical community around. Oh, and Edwin, I can tell you that there is some change in my thinking in this way. I even now including communities in United States, because before I was kind of not interested in. I know there are many communities, and I just couldn't stretch myself enough. But it just happened this way that I met several people, and women and men in United States who are building such communities, and I would like to spread the story about communities in Texas and Arizona, because it's intentional community, and I like that people devoting their life, and they are all after 50 or 60, they devoting their life to build intentional communities. Like one, it's for 55 plus single woman who don't have, home, or just to be together and support each other. Another, it's different, like eco-living in Texas. It's couples that I already connected with.
So intentional communities, that's an
Mhm.
interesting
Uh,
phrase, isn't it, Ken?
Yes, yes. And I learned about intentional communities like years ago from one American lady from California who were trying to build and actually build two intentional communities for American retirees in Ajijic, Mexico. It's how I learned about it. And lately I see the spread of different kind of grassroots communities, I would say. Oh, I've had interview last week with lady from Ireland. They building intentional communities for homeless. So there is different intentions, but the movement itself, it's really touching my heart.
Fascinating story. Wow.
Yeah,
Intentional communities.
yes.
I intend
There
to
are
do,
several in
yeah.
California, by the way. No, eco-living. Eco-living, there is communities for freedom-loving people, and I kind of support these communities, like in Panama, in Mexico, in different intentions. But people are trying again to be together, to support each other. I will see how it's gonna work, because sometimes the best intentions are leading to the, it's not working. But I hope, and people get conferences, they gather together, and I'm participating in online conferences of such organizations to learn more about new projects, new leaders, and I hope they will attract a lot of people, because people are running from the cities, even from the nice ones. Younger people not satisfied, and I very understand them with cost of living, with growing inflation. Like, I'm looking to realities. I spent years. Communicating with digital nomads, it's how they name themselves, and a majority of them, like from America and Canada, it's professionals who run from corporation, from companies, from the good positions, and they want something else, and they're missing community, and I believe, and an affordable place, and it's not only place for living, it's a place to be, around like-minded people.
Interesting. Thank you, Emily, for sharing so much information about yourself and about your ideas. I think uh, you have something interesting to talk about, and I value you and
Thank
your
you.
experience in doing this. You're not just thinking about it, you're doing it.
Yes, and my next project, not enough with it I was speaking about. So next year I get to the idea that in order for people not to get only information about different projects, but know better each other and find like-minded people and create connections and maybe friendship and collaboration, maybe joint venture, I'm launching next year Midlife Expat Alliance,
Oh, I'm
Lifestyle and Business Club. I would like to connect people in North America, and now I mean the US, Canada, people who planning to relocate or to change something in their life with expats who already relocated, the same English speaking people, it might be from America or other country professionals who are living now in Latin America and Europe. There is my next ambition and plans.
How interesting. Thanks for being my guest today.
Thank
As
you.
we come to an end of this year, I'm looking forward to the new year. It will be stimulating, won't it, Ken? With all the changes going on.
As they say, buckle your seatbelts for 2025. It's going to be quite a ride.
I think so. Yeah. So
Yes.
I appreciate your time today, and I'll get this recording back to you at the end of my day today.
Oh, thank you very much. I was expecting there will be more conversations and we will speak about international relocation, but probably people now in stage of relocating or organizing the events.
Well, there will be a distribution of this program across our network, our established network. It is easily going to exceed 100,000 deliveries, mainly through LinkedIn, but also through my YouTube channel, which is very active, and globalbusinessnews.net. And all of that connects to Spotify and RSS feed, and so it just gets recirculated around. There's a lot of people out there who don't want to be visible on the TV screen, so they watch what we produce religiously.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Edwin, for doing this great job and redistributing. And I will look, what is the name on Spotify? Because I'm on Spotify now. For
Yeah,
the,
Spotify, yeah, it's just under Global Business
okay.
TV, and but that's a new thing for me because in the past I didn't care about Spotify. I just wanted to build my own network, not help someone else build theirs. So
Yes, I
say la
understand.
vie, right? All right, Ken, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Emily. Your thoughts are excellent. One, it just triggered a thought for me that organizations, businesses also have a community aspect. We would like our
Yeah,
organization to be the kind of community that values every individual, that's open, honest, welcoming, safe, trustworthy, and focused on the kinds of positive trends and themes that the employees and the individuals bring. Uh, like a community, an organization has a climate, and it has a culture, and we want to be aware of what that is in our organization and make sure that we have good alignment between where this entity is going and its members, the people who are in it. And to look at it from that standpoint as well, it really kind of integrates your thoughts about communities and intentional communities, because in a real sense, organizations need to be intentional communities as well. What kind of intent are we bringing to this organization, AKA this
correct.
community?
That's exactly what
Absolutely.
Stephen was talking about. Stephen Howard, author of Humany, um, his that's intentional. Yeah, that idea of talent care.
I didn't understand why it didn't happen before, why we needed COVID, sorry, and all other changes, and probably it will be at least minimum 5 years of changes to get to this, for me, common sense that places should be desirable and really creating communities because it was a lot of words and still about team building, diversity, inclusion, and other socialistic ideas but not, there is a difference between words and realities, and probably I hope it coming new generation of leaders who would understand that without a real change they will lose professionals and not only 65 years old employees, and we still have a lot of things to reinvent and to do and to go. By the way, I'm speaking. I'm never speaking about retirement in common sense. I'm speaking retirement from the past, starting your new life chapter, retirement from the past, because you still have a lot to contribute. You have life experience, professional experience, you're full of ideas. You just need a little bit support and courage.
Somewhere in my past, I heard the phrase in another language, Yiddish, I think, cycle, which is common sense, but smart common sense. But I'm not one to
Wisdom.
talk in that language.
No, no, but the language is good, even I didn't understand the word.
Yeah, it's all right. It's my
Uh,
accent.
no, no, but the sorry, what I'm trying to say is there is a big gap between words and nice, mission, vision, and other words, and how it actually work in organization. Because I'm coming from the practical perspective. I mean, I've been in this organization on some of them, and I've seen how it's in reality, and I understand why actually good professional conscious people are running from what they're running from. you know if this gap will be really eliminated. And by the way, I have a couple of employees. I mean, my virtual assistant in um, I've had in Philippines. I've had a couple of Ukrainian refugees I was supporting. I mean, they were working for me, and I don't need this book. Sorry, I mean, I don't need all this because I'm in everyday communication with my employees. And I understand that in big company you cannot do it, but it's good that, now the gap will be eliminated, and the management will think more about actually how to understand and attract employees rather just to fill some,
Great.
requirements.
Thank you for sharing so much information. And
I'm
I
very
I
happy.
really enjoy listening to you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. All right. This is Ed signing off from San Diego. Thank you, Ken. Have a
Thank
great
you. Thanks to
weekend.
both of you.
Thank
Emily,
you.
keep
Good.
going
Merry
forward.
Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays,
Happy
everyone.
holidays
Oh,
and be healthy. Take care.
absolutely. Be well.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Thank you.